every single option. And now, you know, he needs to hit a will-o-wisp somewhere, but I just don't think he's going to be afforded that opportunity.
Man, this is a tough spot if you're Wolf. I feel like Kristoff has the slight Pokemon advantage here, as it looks like Mega Tyranitar is going to take the field here. Going to get a nice buff in stats. Not going to bring back the Sandstorm. It's already out on the field. As Kartana on Wolf's side uses Sacred Sword now. Hits into the Kartana slot on Kristoff's side. Bringing it down 40%. Not close enough at all. And Kristoff's Kartana gets the KO on Wolf's Kartana. So big damage right there. Big KO. It's going to be Charizard X versus Kartana, Tyranitar, and Lannister in the back. Charizard using Will-O-Wisp here does hit that Tyranitar. Going to go ahead and burn it and reduce the amount of physical damage that Tyranitar gets to do by half, as Tyranitar is trying to kind of mitigate that a little bit. Going for a Dragon Dance here, going to boost its speed as well as boosting its attack stat. So
yeah, I honestly think the reveal of Dragon Dance there on the Tyranitar pretty much puts the game in Kristoff's favor. You know, if that burn had hit the Kartana in the first instance, then it would be a completely different game. But honestly, that miss really swings this one, because Charizard can stall out a game, and that's what Wolf's going to have to try and do now. But he's going to have to be so careful with how he does it. The problem is, in all that time that he's trying to stall out the game, this Tyranitar can just sit and do what it wants. It's now faster than the Charizard.
That does it.
And just cleans it up.
Kristoff Blay connects that Rock Slide from that Tyranitar. Single target onto that Mega Charizard X. Gets the KO, and Kristoff Blay's tournament remains... well, he's still in contention for day 2. Unfortunately for Wolf Glick, he is eliminated for day 1 of the 2018 World Championships.
Yep, Wolf's going to have to come back next year if he wants to keep chasing those 3 titles of his rival, Ray Rizzo, that he talked about. Kristoff, though, taking a big win in the penultimate round against a former world champion. Looking forward to see how he does in the last round, and if we can see him tomorrow, because his play was fantastic across that whole set.
It's not quite over yet. He still needs to win one more match to punch his ticket to day 2 of the World Championships. And, you know, he must be feeling ecstatic that he was able to face off against one of the greatest of all time, Wolf Glick. He must be feeling even more ecstatic that he was able to get past Wolf Glick. But there's still one more. Maybe he'll be able to use this as momentum to go into the next round and secure his spot for day 2.
Yeah, I mean, when you bring a team that you've clearly crafted yourself, you put some work in, bought that Toga Kiss, and you execute it so well, both the games that he won, Tailwind was key. And Wolf didn't shut it down properly in game 3. You know, he knew about it. He tried to shut it down the same way as game 2, but he got the Tailwind off. You know, he then managed to play with the Follow Me, get enough time and momentum to start knocking things out, and Wolf just wasn't able to claw it back.
Yeah, I mean, going back into the match as a whole, I mean, round 1, Kristoff just had so much offensive pressure to start off, right? He had the Follow Me support from that Togekiss and that Kartana able to just set up so well, being able to Sword Dance so freely, and getting some KOs with that Kartana, really just whittling away at Wolf's team in game 1.
Well, I like the way that actually the Kartana's matched up. Wolf's had Substitute, Kristoff's had Sword Dance. And it's kind of the opposite end of the spectrum,
and Bloom
right?
Doom.
And Bloom Doom. That does make a big difference, but that plays into it. You've got this defensive Kartana with the Berry that recovers 50% and Substitute, and you're going up against this super offensive Kartana with the Z Crystal and, of course, the Swords Dance. And it's sort of something we talk about a lot, is that, you know, which is going to win, a defensive team or an offensive team? Well, in this case, just in that Pokemon alone, the offensive option was much more powerful. Yeah. And, you know, he saw in game 2, Tapu Lele caused the problems. It taunted the Togekiss. It hit the Kartana with the Shattered Psyche. And then in game 3, he said, well, I'll just get the Kartana in, I'll just Bloom Doom you.
It was kind of close, though. I don't know the calcs exactly, but, the Kartana was intimidated. And, Tapu Lele can be trained to be fairly bulky, so, if that Bloom Doom wasn't able to get the KO in game 3, that would have been just absolutely unfortunate, because that was probably a Shattered Psyche targeted right at it.
Oh, yeah, it was coming back around. It's like in game 2, Kristoff switches managed to cause him a little bit of problems there. He was pretty much in a position where, every time he switched, he got caught, very similar to game 1. I think game 3, we saw less switching, just solid board positions from the get-go, and really smart play from Kristoff, particularly at the end. The way he played out that end game, absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely. Of course, there's no other player I'd rather hear more from. Of course, Anna's down on the floor with our winner from round 8, Kristoff. Take it away, Anna.
Thanks so much. I'm here with Kristoff. Kristoff, tell us about that last match.
Yeah, so I was pretty nervous before the match because everybody knows Wolf Glick. But then I just thought he's just a human too, and tried to play my best, and yeah, I did.
Yeah, you did. He's just a human too is a good technique. Tell us a little bit about your play and what you brought to the match.
So key for me was the Togekiss with Spotlight and Tailwind. So the first match I could decide with Spotlight and Kartana next to it. But second game, he then let me set up Tailwind, so I couldn't get around his mons. But the third game, I knew Tailwind was key again. So yeah, I just tried to find a good position to set it up, and yeah.
And it worked. Did you expect that to work so well?
Actually not, no. As I said, I was pretty nervous, but in the end it all worked out. So I'm pretty happy.
Tell us a little bit about your history with Pokemon and how you got to here.
I started VGC, I think, 2014, but I didn't actually play that year. So my first tournament was the German Nationals 2015. And since then I just kept on playing, some smaller tournaments and some regionals. And yeah, practiced a bit at home. But this season was actually the first one. Things were going good for me, so now I'm here with 305 CP, I think, and pretty happy.
Yeah, I bet you are. And how are you feeling about your ability to either win or place very well in this tournament?
Oh, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about that. I didn't expect to make it that far, so I was just going in with the expectation to have a lot of fun today. And now I'm actually one win away of competing in day 2, so I'm definitely going to go for that.
And you're also having fun at the same time?
Oh yeah, definitely. Playing Wolf Glick was an honor for me, so.
Great. Well, I'm glad you're having fun. Congratulations on your success. Remember that if you'd like to chat about the matches, use the hashtag #PlayPokemon and check out all the updates from /Pokemon on all of the social media. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll go to a break, but we'll be right back after this.
Well, welcome back, trainers, to the Pokemon 2018 World Championships. My name is Jay Blake, and I'm joined by the fantastic Gabby Snyder for the first time today.
Yeah, you know, the first time in a long time, I think, actually. So it's great to have you over here on this side of the pond.
And also, what a time to do it.
I know, right?
This
it's been
is
insane.
The business end now. We are at the very end of day one of the Pokemon 2018 World Championships. All is on the line for these players at this point in time. And Gabby, I don't know if you've been keeping an eye on who's been in and who's been out, but
a little bit. I've been trying to, but at the same time, you know, there's so many exciting battles. I just don't have enough pairs of eyes to watch them all.
Well, I've got 2.
All right.
I'm gonna wear glasses. I've got 4.
Okay.
But I've also got some little sparrows out in the audience.
Oh.
I know that there's some really great World Championship players who might have won titles in previous years. Mostly Shoma Hanami, Wolf Glick, Ryota Otsubo. Yeah. They're really great players, and they're
definitely
all out now.
Oh.
The field is so strong here. We cannot stress how great the players we have here in the World Championships are doing in this year, that previous World Champions in day one haven't made it through the field. It's incredible.
That is insane. You know, I mean, especially Wolf, you know, I think the year he won the World Championships, he actually made it through day one. So the fact that he wasn't able to do that a second time just goes to show how insanely strong everybody is here today. I mean, I don't know if you were watching his match last round backstage, but I was, and it was so close. It was so close.
It was an incredible game.
Yeah.
And I, like, all respect to Wolf. It was a very, very hard match. The Kartana was proving so difficult to defeat on the Kristoff side, and the Togekiss support was very, very good as well. So much bulk coming out from that Pokemon. It proved really, really dangerous, especially when enabling that Kartana to get up things like Swords Dance and the Dragon Dance from Mega Tyranitar as well. I was watching that match. It was, how could you not?
I know, right? I was actually watching a little bit of Ryota's match, and I gotta say, there was some pretty cool techs on there as well. I saw a few Pokemon with Substitute that maybe don't necessarily carry Substitute normally, and just some really good reads from his opponents. So I can't wait to see them. Hopefully they went out and, you know, play in day 2, because even just thinking about the field tomorrow, I mean, there's so many amazing trainers who've made it through. Like, whoever makes it through after this round just has that much more ahead of them before they make it to Top Cut and before even the finals.
Yeah, we've only got 1 world champion left in the tournament. He's coming tomorrow. His name is Arash Amati, and he's got a long journey ahead of him if he wants to get back into the finals.
Without a doubt. And I believe he won, what, back in 2013?
It was, oh yes.
So it's even been a while since he's been on the world stage. And I bet you he's hungry for it. I mean, he has to be.
Of course, and with only 1 world champion left in the pot, it's very, very likely that we could be seeing a new world champion coming in this year, which would be so exciting, Gabby.
It would be. I don't know about you, but I love to talk about these exciting matches using that hashtag #PlayPokemon. I'm sure if you're at home and you want to join in on that conversation, go on Twitter, go use that hashtag #PlayPokemon, follow the Pokemon Twitter. They've had some pretty cool, you know, pictures and conversations going on there today, and also all of our other social media channels as well. Just really great conversations, and I've been having fun following along.
Oh, sure. So have I. It's been an incredible day of action here, and I'm so excited to see which teams you want to see, which countries you think can make it through into the finals. Let us know using that hashtag #PlayPokemon, just like Gabby said. And also looking at stuff like our Instagram.com/Pokemon to get all those wonderful Pikachu plush pictures. And
I mean, there's so much cool swag here. Have you seen it yet?
Oh, I've been walking around. I've been looking in the Pokemon Center. There's some incredible world-specific merchandise that is available here, and we would really like to be able to give you a quick sneak peek into how that pack looks for the trainers, because obviously when you join into the Pokemon World Championships as a player, you get a welcome kit, and there are so many cool things inside.
It's pretty great. It's pretty great. No spoilers. You want to just go check that out?
We should check that out. And what a lovely set of merchandise that is available to all the trainers that have joined here at the Pokemon 2018 World Championships. I really want one of those packs.
I just want the guitar picks. I mean, I don't even play guitar, but it's like, yeah, you know, I would pick up the guitar and start strumming along.
I will learn guitar just to use those picks.
Exactly.
And also, I'm a big fan of the bandana myself.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah, look like I'm lacking in the hair department, but I feel like some sort of forehead accessory would be good here. I've got a lot of rental space going on.
Yeah.
I think it'll look good. What do you reckon?
You could always go with the pocket square too, as well. If you want to, you know, like snazz up the stream a little bit.
You're saying I'm not snazzing up the stream right now?
I mean, you always are, but sometimes you just got to one-up yourself, you know?
Fish for compliment, reeled it in. So, guys, this is the final round of the Pokemon 2018 World Championships, Day 1. The players that we're going to bring you now are both, their tournament life are on the line. This is an all-or-nothing match, and this is where the excitement really, really builds.
I know. I mean, if you want to talk about pressure like we've been talking about all day, this round, I think, is probably the worst out of all of them because somehow you've made it through to the last round, but you are X and 2. You cannot afford to lose any more games, and I just can't even imagine what these trainers are feeling right now.
Yeah, the excitement of being this close, but also the apprehension, knowing that one game is all it takes to get you through to Day 2, and we are so excited to be able to bring you an incredible match between Diana Bross of the United States of America going against Zengel 2 of China.
Yeah.
Really, really great players here. And
Definitely.
One nation that we don't see too often in China. And Diana Bross is a really great player who won a regional championships earlier in one of the previous formats. I believe it was 2016, actually.
It was St. Louis in 2016. She also top cut Toronto regionals this year. And I believe she also got some championship points using a Darmanitan at one point. So, you know, just a really strong trainer. You know, I love watching her game. She's very good at thinking through sort of the board position and, you know, playing that to her advantage. So I think it's definitely those skills that brought her this far, and you know, we'll have to see what Zengel brings to the table to you know, defend his Day 2 potential position.
Yeah, this is one of the things that we love to see at the World Championships. Obviously, it's the time to showcase players from all around the world and players that we don't get to see too often. Obviously, we see North American players fairly often, we see European players fairly often, but players from Latin American regions or Oceania or Japan and now China, this is one of the great things that we can bring to you guys at home, and we're so glad that you guys are following along and hoping to see some amazing Pokemon battles. Yeah,
you know, I'm even trying to think last time we had a trainer from China come on stream, and I think it was one of the past international championships, so it's certainly been a while, and it's always especially fun to see, you know, trainers who've traveled from literally across the globe to come compete here at the World Championships and then do well because, you know, they really have their entire country cheering them on at that point.
Oh yeah, and this is one of the things that I'm so excited to see when we get down to the single elimination part of the tournament.
Oh, without a doubt.
If you guys haven't watched the World Championships before or any of the Pokemon video game championship series, once we get down to single elimination, the flags start coming out, and that's when all the players who were playing in the tournament before and have been knocked out, they start to cheer for their compatriots, and the hall gets super loud, the floor starts to shake, and my heart starts to really pound.
I know. And it's also really cool too, like, you see sometimes in the highlight videos from past World Championships, you know, everybody will have their like little corner in the hall, and then, you know, so you'll hear the left side of the stage like cheering for Japan, for example, and the right side cheering for Brazil, or it's just so much energy. It's so exciting. Like, it just makes me really happy that I get to be the one talking over all that sometimes.
Which, like, out of all the events that you've been to, which event do you, like, really recall the power of, like, the crowd and the audience? I think for me, 2016 World Championships, it was Sebastian Escalante, and he was playing in one of his top cut matches, and the whole of Latin America, it felt like the whole of Latin America, the continent, was there, because the noise was incredible. The amount of excitement and energy in that room was just blistering. It was incredible to watch.
Yeah, for me, actually, it wasn't even a video game match. It was the final match of TCG at the Latin American International Championships earlier this year. It was, again, that same energy, that same excitement, and I can't wait to see that again later on this weekend. But for now, we have to get through this last round of Swiss. We have to figure out who's moving on to Day 2.
So excited, guys. We are almost ready for team preview. Both players sitting down now. You can see Zengel on the left-hand side of your screen, Diana on the right. These players are both one game away from being able to make it into day 2, and what a moment to be playing on stream.
What a moment indeed. And, you know, it looks like some of their friends have come along to cheer them on as well. But for now, I don't think it's going to be the Pokemon on the table that are really going to help Zangle make it through. You know, I think it's going to be his team. And looking at it from what a little Sparrow might have told me, I see some familiar faces really on both sides of the field. So to me, what I'm excited to see is how these trainers are going to, you know, face off. When looking at their Pokemon, there are a lot of similarities to the two teams.
Yeah, I believe that Diana has used a similar form of this team throughout the season.
Yes.
She, from what I've experienced before, she really likes the idea of being able to use Mega Gengar. And so I'm hoping that it's performing well for her. Obviously it is, because she's in the final round here at day 1 with the opportunity to make it into day 2. And so we're going to see a Mega Gengar team coming out from her side of the field. But Zangle is using a really interesting team with dual Mega Evolutions. He has that very strong combination of Landorus, Charizard, and Cresselia, but he's also partnering it with Snorlax and Mega Mawile. Mawile usually doesn't operate without its Mega Stone, and Tapu Fini there as well. So he's got 2 very defined modes going up against Diana Bross's Mega Incineroar, Cresselia, Kartana, Tapu Fini, and Landorus. Some amazing Pokemon here to take us through to the final round of Swiss.
Yeah, Diana's going to have to take a moment and think, you know, what mode does she think that Zangle's going to bring? If he brings the Trick Room mode, you know, she might want to bring some different Pokemon. That Mega Gengar might be a good opportunity for her to sort of disrupt that Cresselia, you know, trying to use the Trick Room, maybe even knock it out before it gets the chance. But one thing I really like about how Zangle's team is built is because he has that dual mode, I think he's really forcing Diana already at Team Preview to sort of pick, you know, do I want to hard counter one of those modes, or do I want to try and split up my strategy and maybe rely a little bit more on my predictions, which, remember, this is round 9 of Swiss. You know, that's a lot to ask for. It's been a very long day here.
And both players are ready to go. We are in the final round of Swiss at the Pokemon 2018 World Championships Day 1. Landorus and Cresselia for Zangle 2 of China, going up against Cresselia and Incineroar for Diana Bross of the United States of America.
So let's just take a moment, slow things down, trade some Intimidates. I'm sure if you've been watching the stream, this is something that looks very familiar. What I'm really curious about, though, is how this Incineroar and this Cresselia, and this Landorus Therian are going to match up. You know, the Incineroar does have the option to fake out, and if Diana thinks that a Trick Room is coming out, you know, faking out that Cresselia and maybe allowing her own Cresselia to get like an Icy Wind or something down on the field to threaten that Landorus would be a good option. But if she's more worried about the Landorus dealing damage, you know, maybe faking that out. But instead, it looks like she's going straight on the offensive.
Yeah, nice pivot coming out from Zangle here. He's going to be able to return his Landorus back to his party, choosing a Pokemon that he wants to bring in here, and it looks like a good opportunity for Tapu Fini to come in.
No.
It's actually going to be the Snorlax instead, so he's hoping that a Trick Room is going to be set up, and maybe he's going to use one himself. Diana's going for the Calm Mind here, going to try and boost her special attack and her special defense by one stage. Incineroar on the opposing side of the field looks like it's going on the offensive. This could be a knockoff going into that Cresselia slot. It's going into Snorlax. That's amazing. So Figgy Berry being knocked off from Snorlax, not being able to get in for free. Light Screen, not a move that we see too often from Zangle here. You can see the head shake and a little wry smile. That was not what he wanted to see going into that slot.
That's a really interesting move, though, because the only special attacking Pokemon on Diana's side of the field is that Cresselia. So that Light Screen, very preemptive, might even be an opportunity for Zangle to try and stop that Gengar later on. But for now, you know, that came at the cost of his Snorlax losing the Figgy Berry. It cannot recycle that. It's stuck probably without a belly drum for the remainder of this game.
Well, it doesn't need a belly drum when it's got a helping hand from its partner Cresselia. And we see the Shattered Psyche coming out from Diana's Cresselia here. It's boosted one stage of special attack, so this will be doing some serious damage. Cresselia, not a Pokemon usually known for its high special attack stats, but with Calm Mind, it becomes a real monster. Shattered Psyche going into that Snorlax, it has to punch its way through that Light Screen as well. Snorlax being thrown around, mind bending, and taking some serious damage, leaving it only 110 HP as Knockoff comes off onto Cresselia from on Zangle's side of the field, and it's getting rid of the Wiki Berry as well. Incineroar doesn't want anyone to have any berries at all, and a helping hand boosted return going into the Incineroar, and that is a big knockout for Zangle to take. But both of his Pokemon had to take some serious item loss for it.
Yeah, I'm curious as to why Diana revealed that she had the Z move there going into the Snorlax. You know, when I saw that, I was thinking, all right, maybe she's going to double into that Snorlax and try and remove it from the field. That being said, I really liked how she prioritized the item removal on Zangle's side of the field, because both those Pokemon, you know, the Snorlax, the Cresselia, they love having those pinch berries. They love being able to heal back their health. And, you know, it's very possible now that the Landorus is on the field that this should be able to pick up that knockout on the Snorlax and maybe allow her Cresselia to keep statting up using that Calm Mind.
Landorus going for the U-turn, which is super effective, and will be able to allow Diana to bounce back once again, revealing her final Pokemon to Zengul, and also in saving that Intimidate for later. With Snorlax at such low HP, it doesn't have the opportunity to be able to heal itself, so those Intimidates become even more important. Kartana is a fantastic Pokemon to go into. That Snorlax on the opposing side of the field. Psyshock coming out from Cresselia, going into the opposing Cresselia, doing not too much, but a nice little critical hit there. Snorlax's return going to Kartana. This will be a not very effective attack. Snorlax's normal type attacks going into a steel type is not very good, but the Trick Room coming out from this Cresselia on the Zengul side of the field will allow Snorlax to be able to get some more work here, but Kartana threatens so much damage, doesn't it?
I know. That Snorlax, I think, is going to have to use a helping hand again from its partner Cresselia and target down that Kartana with something that's not that return, but I think that's definitely a tall ask, and I really like the adjustment here. You know, that Mawile is definitely going to be more useful in the long run now that Trick Room's up on the field.
Yeah, and a nice Intimidate going onto that Kartana as well. Physical attacking Pokemon do not appreciate Intimidate. We've seen it so often. Snorlax reveals Protect, so that's very good information for Diana going into Game 2. Kartana also going to Protect here, so Mawile looking like it's getting in for free, unless Cresselia goes for an attack here, but Psyshock not going to be doing too much. Again, resisted hits. Steel types do resist that psychic damage. Still doing a fair amount, though, because of the boost from the Calm Mind, but Mawile coming in here is really, really great. Even if it gets intimidated by a switch in from Landorus, it's still going to be doing massive amounts of damage with huge power ability.
Yeah, Diana really needs to figure out a way to knock that out, and unfortunately with the light screen on the field and, you know, Mawile's excellent typing, really, I don't think she really has the pieces that she needs right now. That Kartana is going to have to try and find a way to attack, even through the Intimidate, probably rely on something that has a high critical hit chance, but it's definitely an uphill battle, and I like how she's switching here. I like how she's trying to, you know, mitigate all the threats on the field, but there's only really so much you can do when she just doesn't have the offensive typing I think that she really needs for this game.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if Mawile reveals a Fire-type attack. It does have access to Fire Fang, which would have gone into that slot. Landorus coming in here is really, really big to try and stop the damage from Mawile, but as we mentioned before, that attack stack is really huge with a huge power boost. Iron Head will be coming out, going into that Cresselia, doing a fair chunk of damage, hitting on its weaker defense side, and the flinch coming out as well. Light screen ends here, so Cresselia will be doing more damage to the Pokemon on Zengul's side of the field, but that flinch was proving quite useful for Zengul.
Yeah, that could have been Diana trying to get another Calm Mind up on the field, which is kind of what I do at this point, because I think she's going to need that extra attacking power to sort of power through all the Pokemon that we've seen on Zengul's side of the field. That being said, you know, Trick Room is running out, and if her strategy is to just mitigate as much damage as she can until that's gone, I think she's doing the best she can, but whether or not it's enough, we'll have to see.
Yeah, that's a really nice Iron Head into that Landorus, putting it in range for a knockout here. Cresselia will have to recover using Moonlight here. Landorus from Zengul will be going into that Landorus on Diana's side of the field, allowing Zengul to pivot back into Cresselia or the Snorlax. Cresselia would be a nice switch in here because it won't take any damage from an Earthquake. Mawile might be able to survive an Earthquake here with so many Pokemon on the field. Cresselia does come in. Its Levitate ability will be crucial going into the rest of this game. Landorus flinches as well. Diana doesn't look very happy about that, and rightly so. An Earthquake would have been very, very nice onto that Mawile.
Yes, it would have, but you know, that's the unfortunate thing about Iron Head is that it does carry with it that flinch chance, and sometimes you just get unlucky. I think she really needs to focus on, you know, trying to make sure she doesn't, you know, get too caught up in those flinches. You know, maybe try to focus on what information she wants going into Game 2, especially knowing that this opposing Cresselia has Helping Hand. I'm sure any preparation she's done in terms of damage calculations has kind of been, you know, mitigated by that.
And that's a knockout onto that Landorus coming out from the Mawile. Helping Hand and Rock Slide, a very potent combination. Psyshock once again going into that Mawile. There's no light screen this time, so it's doing a little bit of extra damage. Twisted Dimensions return to normal, and Mawile still very, very potent in this game. Kartana, if it comes in, or it has to come in, it's the final Pokemon for Diana here. And with the Pokemon left on Zengel's side of the field, you can imagine a switch out into a Landorus might be very useful to get the Intimidate onto Kartana.
I think so. I think, honestly, Zengel's win condition is, you know, decide if he wants the Intimidate. I'm going to assume yes. And then try and get a Trick Room up with Cresselia. You know, even though it only has a little bit of its health left, you know, that Kartana's not going to be dealing super effective damage to it. The Cresselia as well probably won't be dealing a lot of damage to it. I have to imagine that it will be able to hold on. If Diana's able to knock it out, though, and stop the Trick Room, then she has a shot. I mean, it's going to come down to the speed of things and whether or not this Kartana can get critical hits where it needs to get it, but you never know. There's always a chance.
There's always a chance, and there's definitely a chance that the Intimidate will drop the physical attack stat of this Kartana. Leaf Blade going into Cresselia, very nice target there, but it doesn't pick up the knockout. That is super unfortunate. Icy Wind, the double up, very, very nice from Diana. Very great move from her. Landorus surviving, though, on 49 HP, getting the speed drop as well, but most importantly, denying Cresselia the Trick Room. That double up was super, super important.
It was, and I think that she also got some excellent information about that Landorus. You know, that Cresselia is at +1 special attack. I think that's probably a bulkier Landorus, you know, one that's been trained to take attacks like that. So now that Kartana should be able to outspeed. I think this Kartana has its choice of which Pokemon it wants to knock out here, because even if Mawile does have something like the Sucker Punch, you know, that won't be enough to stop the Kartana from attacking.
Landorus protecting itself here, doesn't want to be knocked out by a Leaf Blade from the Kartana.
No.
Sucker Punch going into Kartana, taking it most of the way down. Sacred Sword goes into the Mawile, doesn't fall for that Protect. Icy Wind coming out from Cresselia. It goes into the Protect of Landorus, and a little bit of extra damage going into that Mawile now. Now, this is the real key part, right? Okay, Gabby? So, Mawile is in range for a Psyshock from Cresselia, and this is super important. Kartana, if it protects this turn, it won't take any damage from the Sucker Punch, and will then be able to outspeed Landorus the next turn. If Mawile goes for an attack here and Cresselia goes for the Psyshock, that will be a knockout. Mawile has to protect this turn to waste the Kartana's Protect, and then Diana will be forced to keep protecting to stop the Sucker Punch from knocking out Kartana.
But Diana just attacked with her Cresselia in front of a Mawile with Sucker Punch. I mean, that was a very confident move, and I think it's up to Zengel here to correctly predict, you know, do I Sucker Punch, do I switch, what do I do here? And I like how he's at least giving himself a second Intimidate for later.
Oh, no Sucker Punch! That is a knockout onto the Mawile. Excellent, excellent play. You can see from Diana's face that she really wanted that knockout, and Zengel not pulling the trick of going for that Sucker Punch, as Cresselia once again goes for the Icy Wind. Very content with its stalwart defenses, just to drop those Icy Winds, put pressure on that Landorus, and Kartana, with its speed and its power, with those Leaf Blades and that Beast Boost, is going to be able to run riot here.
I love Kartana. You know, I think we've been seeing it do work throughout the entirety of day one of this tournament, and this is exactly why it's doing that. You know, it gets the damage when you need it, and then it gets those beast boosts, and it just keeps dealing more and more damage. And it looks like, you know, Zengel's going to be clicking in the forfeit here, and I think that's actually a really good decision for him, because there's not much more information he's going to get. That Cresselia is probably going to continue to Icy Wind, that Kartana is going to continue to Leaf Blade. I think giving himself maybe a little bit more time to think going into game 2 might have been why he played that out, but if I were him, I think he has a plan.
Yeah, he needed to really execute with that Mawile. I think the missed opportunity with the Sucker Punch into that Kartana, he probably predicted the Protect, and so didn't go for it. But if he played defensively in that position, protected his own Kartana, forced Diana to be able to waste her offensive potential with that Kartana, he would have been in a different position. And now, with his back to the wall, he needs to take this game, Gabby. And what adjustments do you think that he can make to try and put the test to Diana's strategies?
So I think that he was sort of counting on the fact that Trick Room would be enough to win him the game, and that certainly was not the case. So I think going into game 2, if he's comfortable with it, either be more offensive with the Trick Room or don't bring Trick Room at all. If I were him, looking at the Pokemon that Diana has on her team, looking at her team composition, I would probably lean towards being more aggressive with the Trick Room, you know. Unless she decides to bring that Gengar or maybe uses the Incineroar's Fake Out this time around, there's really nothing stopping Zengel's Cresselia from getting up Trick Room. You know, we didn't even see Trick Room on her own Cresselia. So if he can get that up on the field, if he can not lose that berry on that Snorlax, I think he'll be in a much better spot this game.
We are just about to kick it into Game 2, the final round of Swiss of Day 1 of the Pokémon 2018 World Championships. Zengul2 needs to win this game to be able to move through to Day 2. Diana Bross needs to win this game to be able to move through, but she is 1-0 currently in this set, leading Tapu Fini and Cresselia up against Zengul's Landorus Fairy form and Cresselia as well.
And an adjustment already with that Tapu Fini on the field, and it's not going to be able to remove any berries from Snorlax. So if Zengul decides, he can do the same exact thing he did in Game 1 here and probably be a lot better off for it. But this Tapu already threatens that Landorus a lot more, I think. So Diana's really going to have to think hard. You know, does she think the Trick Room's coming? Does she think that Zengul switched it up? But for now, it looks like he's going with the same game plan.
Exactly. U-turn going into that Cresselia, allowing him to pivot. If Snorlax comes in here, it's not going to be threatened by a knockoff, which is really good news for it. And also we know that Cresselia doesn't have the opportunity to protect on Diana's side. We've seen all the moves that it's carrying. So it was a very nice and easy opportunity to U-turn into that. Tapu Fini going for the taunt. This is a really great move. Diana stopping Cresselia going for that Trick Room. She gets her own Calm Mind up as well. Zengul, again, another wry smile as what he wanted to do on turn 1 is denied once again. Diana playing exceptionally well here. Her Cresselia boosted 1 stage of special attack, 1 stage of special defense, and Zengul, unfortunately, not able to get his Trick Room.
That Tapu Fini as well could taunt the Snorlax this turn and stop it from using something like Belly Drum. So, you know, Diana essentially shut down that Cresselia because not only will it not Trick Room anymore, it can't Helping Hand. It can't really do anything to support its partners. So Zengul either is going to be forced to attack here or forced to switch. And, you know, judging by the moves we've seen it used so far, Helping Hand, Light Screen, Trick Room, if it has an attack now, it would be the time to use it. If it switches, it might not be carrying an attack at all.
We'll have to see. Incineroar is coming in for Tapu Fini. Going to drop an Intimidate onto that Snorlax and threaten it with a knockoff that we saw in that first game. Cresselia on Zengul's side will be switching out here, doesn't want to keep that taunt around or reveal which attacks it's going to be using. Moral is a very nice switch in here as well, intimidating that Incineroar that just made it onto the field for Diana. Unfortunately, it's hit super effectively by Flare Blitz, but we'll come to that later. Another Calm Mind from Diana. Her Cresselia not threatened in the slightest here and wanting to boost up as much as possible.
Yeah, but that Snorlax is going to be free to Belly Drum this turn if Zengul went for it, but instead going for that return into the Incineroar. You know, that was such a risky play on Diana's part because you never want to give a Snorlax an opportunity to go for something like a large Belly Drum, and that switch there wouldn't be how I would mitigate it.
I think the threat of taunt was really what Diana was relying on here. Revealing that early onto the Cresselia was like, you can't Belly Drum here with Snorlax. If you do, you're crazy. Like you're playing into my hand there. And so she made that expectation. Zengul obviously felt the pressure and went for that return. And it was a good move. It was a good move to make, chunking down Tapu Fini, which is a very potent threat, especially with that taunt. Moral on the field now, doesn't want to take a Flare Blitz from this Incineroar. Incineroar has the opportunity to fake out whichever Pokemon it wants. Cresselia coming back in now, hoping to get the opportunity to set up a Trick Room later on in the game. And Snorlax is going to retreat here as well. Again, knockoff, so potent. Another Intimidate coming out from this Landorus going on to Incineroar from Diana on Diana's side. It's going to be 2 stages of decreased physical attack, and Psy Shock coming out from Cresselia, going into the opposing Cresselia. This is 2 stages of increased special attack, not doing too much at all there. Flare Blitz will also be going into that Moral slot, so Diana cleverly covering the switch here, that you can see how little damage the Incineroar is doing with those attack drops.
Yeah, but I think that Cresselia on her side of the field is going to be able to threaten that Landorus enough that if the Incineroar will get knocked out this turn because Diana decides to keep it on the field, maybe to try and stop the Cresselia from doing something, you know, it would be a fair trade. I like this switch here. I think that saving the Incineroar for later, especially knowing that the Pokemon in the back are that Mawile and that Snorlax, is the correct prioritization.
Ooh, we see the Z move. It is the Groundium Z coming out from this Landorus here, and with Cresselia sitting in that right-hand slot with its Levitate ability, there is only one place this move is going, and Tapu Fini will have to eat a Tectonic Rage to be able to make it through this turn. But we've seen many Landorus being able to pick up knockouts with Tectonic Rage. Tapu Fini would have to be extremely defensive to be able to do it. Here we go. Tapu Fini is surviving. Moonlight coming out from that Cresselia as well, taking all the damage that Zengul has fought so hard to put onto it away here, and Diana putting herself in a wonderful position. Zengul finally gets his Trick Room, but with both Pokemon on Diana's side of the field proving problematic. Tapu Fini able to start throwing off Muddy Waters and threaten this Landorus. Cresselia with the Psy Shock hitting into Snorlax's weakened side. There is a lot of opportunity for Diana to make the most of the Trick Room too.
There is, but she's going to have to be very careful. You know, Zangle, he does have the advantage of having 3 physically attacking Pokemon in his side of the field, so the defensive boost that Diana's Cresselia has gotten from those Calm Minds won't be as relevant. It's mostly going to be the damage output that I think he needs to worry about. But that being said, you know, he does have the Twisted Dimensions in his favor. He is probably going to be moving first once there's something other than the Landorus up on the field. So he might have to let the Landorus get knocked out this turn and just hope that he can get the Snorlax in next turn and immediately go for something like a Belly Drum.
Oh, the Light Screen is a very smart play here as well. 2 special attacking Pokemon on Diana's side of the field. Side Shock will be going into that Landorus and doing a nice chunk of damage there as well. It does hit the defense of that Pokemon. That is how the attack works. Muddy Water going to be hitting onto that Landorus as... Oh no, it just avoids the Landorus.
Cresselia.
Just the Cresselia. And you can see how much that Light Screen plus the immense bulk of Cresselia is able to put in work here. Landorus dropping an Earthquake onto that Tapu Fini. This will be enough to pick up the knockout, removing Diana's Island Guardian from the field.
That's okay, though. I mean, I think it would have been worse, honestly, if that Snorlax was able to come out, or even the Mawile, really. So in this case, yes, she's down a Pokemon, but she's also burning turns in Trick Room. And whenever that Snorlax makes an appearance, or whenever that Mawile makes an appearance, you know, it's going to come down to how many turns of Trick Room are left. So if she can fake out the Landorus this turn, maybe continue to chip damage onto that Cresselia, or otherwise, you know, you boost her own Cresselia via something like the Calm Mind. You know, again, that's another turn of Trick Room gone. And it's really going to be important, I think, for her to keep playing down that clock. And Zangle's just going to have to find a way to be offensive around that. You know, if I were in his shoes, I don't think I'd want the Cresselia on the field anymore. It got its Light Screen, it's got its Trick Room. I know my opponent's going to be trying to stop me from using my Trick Room. You know, I just need to prioritize that as much as I can.
Oh, the final move is revealed on Zangle's Pokemon, and that is an ally switch. So I imagine that Diana probably wanted to target into the Landorus. No, it goes for the Landorus. That is a really, really nice play, trying to get the knockoff onto the Cresselia. Not doing too much damage there, but the Shattered Psyche comes out. She's probably attacked into that left-hand slot, trying to pick up the knockout onto the Landorus or anything on the switch in, but this will be hitting onto that Cresselia, so the ally switch proving very dangerous for Zangle here. You imagine that Cresselia should be able to survive this with the Light Screen and its immense special bulk. And Diana probably not expecting that ally switch to come out in the slightest.
Not at all. I mean, this Cresselia knows no attacking moves. That's great information for her. And, you know, this U-turn, a great opportunity for Zangle to get something like the Snorlax on the field. You know, now she's really going to have to think, if that Snorlax comes out, if that Mawile comes out, am I going to be targeting that Pokemon, or am I going to expect my opponent to click that ally switch button once again?
Yeah, that's it. That is the mind game that Zangle's team is bringing here. Snorlax hitting the field under Trick Room. Incineroar's already used a turn, so it can't fake out. Snorlax will be moving first under Trick Room because it's really slow. I mean, look at the guy. It's
like
massive.
One of the slowest things, I think, in the metagame right now.
For sure. So this could
just
be
maybe.
This could be that belly drum turn that we've been speaking about for Zangle, and this he'd be able to make the most of his Trick Room finally. Cresselia is going to be retreating now. One of his final Pokemon will be coming out. It is Mawile once again. So another Intimidate going off onto the Incineroar on Diana's side of the field, dropping its physical attack by 1 stage. Snorlax will be first to move, and it does go for the belly drum.
No fake out either.
Incineroar had already been on the field for 1 turn, so Snorlax able to get that belly drum, go back up to full HP, maximizing its attack stat, and will be able to start wrecking some house in the turns to come. Incineroar goes for the U-turn. It was going into that Snorlax slot, so really nice play from from Diana to be able to bring in a final Pokemon now.
You have to wonder what that Pokemon's going to be. If I had to guess, honestly, I think we're going to be seeing that Kartana once again, but instead it's actually her Landorus. So, you know, Landorus not known to be the slowest Pokemon. You know, some Landorus don't even carry moves like Protect, so I'm not really sure if this Landorus is going to help her stop this Snorlax.
And you can see how much of a threat Diana respects as Snorlax. That Psy Shot going into it as well, doing a fair chunk of damage, but the Light Screen obviously putting in the work for Zangle here. Snorlax is so dangerous, and there's only so many turns of Trick Room left that he has to make the most of. And Cresselia, a Pokemon not known to be able to carry Protect. We've seen all the moves on Diana's Cresselia. Incineroar is coming in now, so Diana really, really needing to start ranking up those Intimidates onto that Snorlax, reducing its attack stat, so it will be at +4 stages of increased attack, and still a massive, massive feat to try and stop it from just knocking things out. Mawile Moral gets its Mega Evolution now. It's at one stage of decreased physical attack, but huge power still so prevalent. And we see the Snorlax taking down that Incineroar, a very, very nice option, especially because we've seen how much damage.
Oh! Oh no!
What?
What?
Moral copying the stat changes. This is going to be a very, very dangerous Pokemon. So Diana managing to heal her Cresselia up, but with Snorlax and Moral both at such an incredible amount of physical attack, and the opportunity to Sucker Punch with Moral is looking so, so dangerous here. Landorus comes in, gets another Intimidate off. So this will be both Pokemon at 3 stages of increased physical attack, but that is more than enough to put short work to some of these Pokemon on Diana's side of the field.
Yeah, that Landorus needs to knock out this Mawile this turn, and if Mawile can Sucker Punch it and get a one-hit knockout, I mean, its attack is still crazy high. You know, that's not going to be, I think, the win, her win condition for this game. You know, Zankel's just done an amazing job of keeping control of the board.
Mawile has 4 attacking moves. It's not running Protect.
You're right.
This is really great, and Mawile able to eat the Earth Power as well. No Sucker Punch, Slice Shot coming out from the Cresselia, going into that Snorlax. It's not going to be enough to pick up a knockout here. Snorlax surviving with 80 HP. Iron Head coming out from this Mawile. Huge amount of damage. Cresselia going down in 1 hit. Not many Pokemon can boast a 1-hit knockout onto Cresselia, as Snorlax goes for the return into Landorus now. It's going to be enough for the knockout as well, and Zengul ties up this set. The final round of Swiss in day 1 of the 2018 Pokemon World Championships is going to Game 3.
That light screen from Zangul, I think, just paid off in dividends. I mean, looking at that Earth Power, that was less than half health left on that Mawile. There's no doubt in my mind that the reason it was able to hold on was because of that light screen. You know, I think Diana, she really needs to shut down the Cresselia in this Game 3 if she's going to make it into day 2. And I think there's really only 1 or 2 Pokemon on her team that can do that. And interestingly enough, one of those Pokemon is something that she's left on the bench every single game so far. It's the Gengar.
It is, and it's going to be a really interesting match. This is the final opportunity for both of these players to get into day 2. So everything is on the line. If you're going to make the adjustments, you have to make them now. You can't leave anything behind here. Zengul finally able to make the most of his Trick Room last game. Tapu Fini obviously putting some dents in that, and maybe Diana wants to lead into that mode again just in case that Trick Room tries to come out early. And we've seen that Cresselia have been setting up that light screen, put in so much work. Cresselia is such a problematic Pokemon, and so maybe you're right, Gabby, that Gengar is the right call here. It would have to deal with the Sucker Punch from Moral, the Landorus's Earthquake, and also if Charizard does make an appearance here, that's a huge amount of Fire-type damage, especially going up against a Katana, which obviously she left behind this last game, but it proved so potent in that first game, she might want to go for it again. You can see that both trainers are really concentrating here. Brion is also concentrating, giving Diana the stare down. This is going to be a really nerve-wracking game. Guys, use that hashtag #PlayPokemon. Let us know who you want to win this game, Zengul or Diana Bros. This is it, the final game of day 1, Pokemon 2018 World Championships.
And a lead from Diana that is mixing it up. It looks like Zengul's sticking with what he's done for these past 2 games. So I think Diana, her play here might honestly be to taunt and knock off that Cresselia at the same time and just hope that something works out in her favor. But, you know, that's leaving that that Landorus on the field. We already know that it has that Tectonic Rage to threaten the Incineroar. There's just so many different things at play, you know. It's not coming down to the Pokemon. It's going to come down to what these trainers are thinking, what they think the other trainer is thinking, and then maybe even a few levels deeper than that.
It looks like Earthquake could be a very, very potent move for Zengul here, just to get some chip damage onto both of these Pokemon.
Helping Hand Earthquake even would seem to be a perfect play, because that would even essentially mitigate the Intimidate from Diana's Incineroar.
Yeah, this Cresselia is such a toolbox of a support Pokemon, especially with no attacking moves. Moral, no defensive moves. Cresselia, no attacking moves. Really interesting choices coming out from Zengul here. We see the Protect coming out, and we see that the Ally Switch is coming as well. Really interesting play here, ensuring that there's no damage dealt to that Landorus or to the Cresselia. Hoping to... This is a Hydro Vortex coming out from Diana as well. If you imagine, it's probably going into that Landorus slot. which means Cresselia will be taking that attack. Special defense, very, very high on Cresselia. It should be able to waste this Z move from Diana.
That was an amazing play by Zengel there. I mean, yes. Oh, no, it's going into the Landorus. It's going into the Landorus.
Look at Zengel's face as well. He's like, oh, okay, this is an interesting play. Landorus taking some very big damage even through the protect. And Incineroar going for the knockoff as well. The double up into that slot. So Cresselia makes it through the turn with no damage, but Landorus taking a little bit more than Zengel expected to.
Oh, without a doubt. You know, I think Diana was looking to use her Z move and the knockoff to knock out that Cresselia outright. And how Zengel plays now, you know, you have to wonder the mind games going on here. Do I ally switch again? Do I just plain switch out? You know, Diana saving her Incineroar for later here could be something that helps her, but at the same time, if this Cresselia is able to use Trick Room, you know, again, that could be the end of the game.
This is a really, really tight game. Landorus going for Earthquake. Great switch from Diana just to mitigate any damage into that slot. Obviously, Tapu Fini will be taking some big damage here. So the only Pokemon to receive any damage, actually. Tapu Fini being chunked a little bit now, and this looks like it could be in range for the Tectonic Rage that we've seen so often. The Taunt coming out from Tapu Fini onto that Cresselia and denying it being able to use any supportive moves later on. The Helping Hand was very, very potent there. But Landorus now in a position to be able to throw off a Tectonic Rage into that Tapu Fini slot.
Yes, but Diana's also forcing that Cresselia to switch out. Otherwise, it will struggle. So this will give us an indication of how Zengel decides to play this game moving forwards. If we see that Snorlax or that Mawile, we know he's planning on that Trick Room. But if we see something else, that means that he could have completely switched up his strategy and potentially given Diana the opening she needs to really gain some momentum in this game.
Switching all round, Cresselia having to leave the field. As you said, Gabby, Mawile coming in, gonna get an Intimidate off onto the Incineroar now. It's at 1 stage of decreased attack. Landorus at 2 stages of decreased attack, and this is gonna be problematic should he go for the Z move. He doesn't. Really great opportunity for him to pivot back into his party and potentially bring out that Cresselia one more time, and now he'd be in a position to, actually no, it would be still a problematic position for him because Incineroar has the opportunity to fake out or threaten the Mawile as well. Taunt will be able to activate one more time. He's probably going to want to reveal that final Pokemon on his side of the field.
We'll see. Again, it's all going to come down to what kind of strategy he's planning on bringing. And if it is that Cresselia that comes back out on the field, Diana's going to be forced to either taunt it one more time, fake it out, or otherwise just stop it from setting up everything that Zengel did in Game 2.
Muddy Water is going to be hitting onto that Mawile, which does not appreciate their damage, leaving it just over half its HP. Cresselia doesn't mind too much at all, and now we're in that situation, Gabby. How does Diana stop this Trick Room? She's got Incineroar with Fake Out, she's got Tapu Fini with Taunt. Both of those are interesting options. Taunt is probably a really smart play going into that Cresselia slot and stopping Mawile from getting any damage off into that Tapu Fini. But Mawile's concerned about Incineroar's Flare Blitz as well. Diana's in such a good state of board position at the moment. If she goes for a knockoff into that Incineroar, into that Cresselia and a Taunt into it as well, we might see that Zengel goes for the switch out on his Mawile, but Cresselia would be shut down. Smartly, he switches out the Cresselia, though.
It looks like Diana might have called that. I don't know. We'll have to see how this turn plays out. But, you know, another thing that she could have potentially done there, honestly, is just go straight for damage and, you know, hope that we would see this switch up on the field. I don't really know what to expect. This game is so close.
So many options for both trainers here. Mega Mawile hitting the field, trading his Intimidate ability for huge power. Muddy Water coming out.
It connects, it connects.
Really great play from Diana here. She's obviously thought about this. Mawile will be taking some nice damage. Landorus goes down. Huge turn for Diana. She takes the Pokemon advantage now. Landorus leaving the field.
And the Flare Blitz into the Mawile as well. A double knockout.
Diana Ross making the plays that she needs to potentially get to day 2. 2 Pokemon going down for Zengel. He's left with his Cresselia and 1 mystery Pokemon in the back. Diana still in such a good position. She must be so happy with how that turn panned out.
Yes, but she has to keep her eye on the prize. She needs to taunt this Cresselia this turn, and regardless of what it does, if it ally switches, you know, I think a taunt into a Snorlax would be great. She just needs to make sure that she doesn't let Zengel Trick Room, she doesn't let Zengel Belly Drum, because that is the only win condition I think he has, considering she still has all 4 of her Pokemon remaining.
Tapu Fini has been destructive to Zengel's game plans here. The ally switch does come out. So maybe that taunt is such a safe call here. We see that Tapu Fini goes for the taunt. It's going into that Cresselia slot. Snorlax will not be able to belly drum going forward. And Incineroar gets the knockoff. It's going into the Snorlax as well. The Figgy Berry being removed. Even Zengel is smiling at this point. He knows that that was such a good play from Diana. And when your back is back in the corner like this, you must respect the plays that your opponent makes.
You do, and it's good to see that he's having fun with it as well. You know, with so much pressure on both these trainers, I think it's sort of hard to see, you know, that dream of day 2 slowly drift away from you, but they have been playing insanely well. I think a lot of video game players talk about how hard it is to play against Ally Switch because you just simply never know when it's going to come into effect, and the fact that they're both making such incredible reads, it's such an amazing match to watch, and I'm glad that they're having fun with it too.
Cresselia finally taunted. No Ally Switch coming out, but the helping hand does. We see a knockoff onto that Cresselia. It will be knocking off the berry. This reminds me of game 1 as we see the Earthquake coming out from Snorlax. It will be boosted by that helping hand, wanting to get some good damage onto the Incineroar here. So doing a nice chunk to that Tapu Fini as well. Both Pokemon left in yellow HP ranges, and that Cresselia finally taunted. It will have to struggle this turn. Zengel has no Pokemon to be able to switch it out.
I gotta say, the struggle is real for that Cresselia. The struggle is real, but if there's any Pokemon I think that can at least still do damage without the belly drum, it's going to be that Snorlax. If Diana has the option to switch out the Incineroar here, you know, maybe save some of those Intimidates for later, and I'd really like to see a safe play like that, but it looks like she's going straight on the offensive, and a double miss.
So the U-turn coming out from Incineroar here, going into that Snorlax. You can see both trainers are laughing along with each other. They're having a good time in this game. I think at this point where you've been concentrating so much, you are really, really like, it does get to a point where you respect each other and you're having a good time. And this is what high-level battling feels like. Kartana, such a good Pokemon to bring in the back. Cresselia having to struggle here, goes into the Tapu Fini.
That's a nice amount of damage for a struggle. I know you're saying it's not a lot, but that was a nice amount.
And we see another Earthquake. Kartana will not be taking too much damage from this. Tapu Fini will not be knocked out either, leaving it in just the red HP range. Kartana free to go into this Snorlax now. I believe Zengel's already revealed Protect on this Snorlax, so he can go into that Cresselia as well. It can't do anything about it. So Kartana attacking into that Snorlax, into that Cresselia slot would be great. Forfeit coming out from Zengel here. There's a handshake. Diana Bross is moving to day 2 of the Pokemon 2018 World Championships. You can see what this means to her on her face. Such jubilation. Lovely sportsmanship from both of these trainers. Gabby, what an electrifying game here to end day 1.
I know, it was so insanely close and so incredibly well played by both of these trainers. You know, Zengel, he has such a crazy offensive team. I mean, I was sort of sweating a little bit here behind the desk. I don't know about you, Jay. Like, I can't imagine what it would have been like to stare down that team, to stare down that game 2, knowing that you have to somehow overcome not only the belly drum on the Snorlax, but that psych up from the Mawile as well to get your day 2 invite here at the Pokemon World Championships.
Yeah, she had the techniques to be able to do it. She had the frame of mind to be able to stay calm and work her way through it, especially after game 2 when things look so bad. Going into game 3, having that game plan, saying, okay, I need to control that side of the board, doing it perfectly, getting enough damage on that ally switch Protect play from Zengel, which under normal circumstances would have been an excellent play, but that Z move, putting Glandorus in range for the Muddy Water later on, Diana must be so, so proud.
Yes, I'm just so happy for her. I mean, it's so great to see that both these trainers, you know, have really enjoyed that game and are just, you know, happily going over the plays that they made and probably their logic behind it and all that stuff. But just to see like such elation and to be a part of that, it's just, I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm still like, yes!
Oh, I mean, we were smiling the entirety of that game because this is what high-level video game championship series Pokemon is about. There are amazing plays, incredible drama, and so much fun. And for us and for you guys at home, we hope you really enjoyed that game. Zengel 2, unfortunately, wasn't able to make it through to day 2, but he put on such a show for us. His team was incredibly offensive, like you said, Gabby.
Incredibly.
That full range of attacking moves on Mawile, proving very dangerous in game 1, and then no attacking moves on Cresselia, full supportive set. If Tapu Fini didn't have Taunt on Diana's side of the field, this could have been a completely different game.
It could have. You know, you can understand how he made it all the way to this last round. I mean, you get Trick Room up, you do a belly drum, and then you get Mawile in the field with the Psych Up. All of a sudden, your opponent has essentially 2 Snorlax to deal with, and let's be real, some people people, like, I can't deal with one Snorlax. You put two in front of me, and then I'm either using a Poke Flute or I'm out. So it's just such a well-built team. I really love how he was able to sort of balance all the different kinds of play modes, and I really would have loved to see that Charizard, you know, in a previous match where it would have been effective, because I'm sure it had some of the tricks up its own sleeve as well.
Yeah, and I'm glad that Zengul stuck to his guns. We wanted to be able to see that Charizard maybe as a good way of countering the Kartana on Diana's side of the field. We noticed that in Game 1 she used it and it was very potent for her, and I imagine that in Game 3 she probably wanted to go that route as well, but Zengul stuck to his guns. He thought that he had the plays to make it happen. Unfortunately for him, it didn't roll that way, but Diana, so well played. She is, I believe this is her first World Championship.
It is. It's her first World Championships, and it's her first time in Day 2, obviously, and I would love to hear her thoughts on the matter, so I think we're going to take a quick break and then talk to her for a bit.
Yeah, don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be back with an interview very soon.
Welcome back, Pokemon trainers. My name is Gabby. I'm joined here by Diana Bros, who just qualified for Day 2 of the Pokemon World Championships. How you feeling, Diana?
I am feeling wonderful. I came in today with zero expectations. It's my first time competing at Worlds, and I said, I'm just going to have fun. I have zero expectations to make Day 2 or even go positive today. So the fact that I was able to has been fantastic.
So, like, what was going through your mind throughout the tournament? I mean, how long were you at that X2 mark? Were you worried about it or just trying to have fun?
I spent the last 3 or 4 rounds at X2, so it's been fine. Normally, I'd be stressing a lot more, but because I came in with the mentality of, I'm not making Day 2 anyways, I just had fun and took it game by game and ended up working out.
All right, so tell me about that last match. So Game 1, you did an amazing job of sort of stopping that Trick Room and keeping your board position. Was that on your mind going into team preview at all?
Yeah, I saw the Mawile and Snorlax and Cress, and I knew he had a very strong Trick Room core that could do really well against my team. Once in Games 1 and 2, he revealed more information about his Crest. I figured out he had no attacking moves, which is when I was like, oh, I have Taunt on my Feeny. I can shut that down, and it came down to a couple calls in Game 3, threatening the Taunt versus attacking with Feeny that worked out in my favor.
Yeah, so what was your mindset going into those big decisions? Were you just hoping that you guessed right, or did you have a little bit of intuition?
I think the mindset was there were a couple plays that I think were forced. I think him switching out the Cresselia so it doesn't become dead weight, the turn where I muddied watered and picked up the double KO with on Mawile and Landorus, I think that was forced, because if I got the taunt and I then let my Feeny go down, it was fine. He needed to KO the Feeny and get his Crescent untaunted. So I thought a couple of those plays were not really reads, but they were forced plays on his end.
Yeah, I think that you did a really great job of just making sure that your Pokemon were in the right place at the right time. Any ideas how you're going to prepare for tomorrow?
Gonna go to sleep. That's it. I'm going to go grab some food, look over some matchups, and then go to sleep pretty much, rest up.
Yeah, it's definitely been a long, tiring day, and thank you so much for, being awake for just a little bit longer so we could talk to you. And, that's it for our coverage here of day one of the Pokemon World Championships. You can join in on the conversation at home if you want to talk about that last match, talk about what you want to see tomorrow, using that hashtag #PlayPokemon on Twitter, on Instagram, on your social media platform of choice. And that's all I got to say. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you tomorrow morning from here in Nashville. Have a great evening.